be mysterious and shit, whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's damn near all the big shit we could. Rap shit got canceled. That's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I did have something I wanted to kind of talk about. Some bigger like industry news this week, I think, was that Pitchfork is being absorbed by GQ. They laid off about 50% of their staff. I think this is just another mass layoff in music journalism that we've seen over the last year. And it's pretty clear that music journalism as we knew it is dying, and it's moving to TikTok and podcasts and this kind of stuff. And do you guys see a problem with the death of written music journalism?
No.
I disagree, but say what you were going to say.
I mean, they
first.
deaded Sports Illustrated this week too. So like, that's just not where people are consuming their content. Like I'm one of those kids. I grew up and like obviously like, you know what I mean, music, sports isn't the same, but I think they're kind of similar. You know what I mean? I grew up buying every like slam magazine I could find. You know what I mean? Like I fucking bought the XXL magazines. You know what I mean? With the freshman classes and shit. As a fan of that, I'm able to recognize that that's just not how content's being consumed. But as long as the content is still being talked about in the public sphere, I don't really care the platform. And I think it's more it's less gatekeeping. Now I think you're giving other people an opportunity to become the journalists. You know what I mean? Whether it's players on the sports side or former musicians, you know what I mean? It's transitioned from pundits and people writing about shit and like you can't even see their face and you don't know who's actually doing these stories. Now at least you got to have your profile picture up. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I
you
think
gotta
that's a negative.
I want to know who's talking about me, bro. And if it's not a journalist, I'd rather have like if I'm looking for like some shit about R&B, you know what I mean, or a good R&B interview, I'd rather go watch Tank and Jay Valentine, two R&B legends, talk to Friday and shit like that, than have to listen to some random reporter on like fucking, you know what I mean, like just talk about it. So
Yeah.
I don't hate on it.
I mean, I think it's fine if you're trying to get opinions and that on like music, like you said, like. If you want to know what's up next in R&B, you're trying to listen to R&B legends. But I think it gets dangerous when you're trying to find like facts, like objective facts, and it's just people talking on podcast mics and clipping things up on TikTok and writing 2-sentence blog posts. I think that part is the dangerous part. I don't know how it's going to be fixed, but I think people are starting to get their actual news from just trust me, bro, sources.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that part's dangerous.
I definitely think it's a big problem because I think that journalists, like you said, these are the people that are going to become the journalists. It has moved to journalists. We used to have real journalists that are trained in journalism ethics, are trained in communication, and also like deliberate with artist teams for weeks before these pieces go live. You know what I mean? Like I think in the written era, there was so much more collaboration between the artist and the team that was putting this piece out. You know what I'm saying? Like I would way as an if I was an artist, I would way rather go do a super dope cover with a magazine and talk to the creative team about who the photographer is going to be, get the selects back, make my selects, talk to the interviewer, you know what I mean? And craft this whole piece that is true to the message that I want to communicate, as opposed to Mos Def getting on the podcast and who knows what he really said because it's behind a paywall, so we're just going to clip it up and make him look like this. You know what I'm saying?
But that's a problem with society, not the state of journalism. Because
I agree.
You can go and watch the full interview and get exactly what he said and his opinions from his mouth.
But
and
also
the person who did it and set the whole thing up is getting paid.
You know, but there was no collaboration post-interview between Mos Def and that platform.
What do you mean?
Mos Def doesn't have any creative control of how that content comes out once he films it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But he knew that when he went in.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I would like artists are not always like gonna hit on their message every time in this. You know what I mean? I do like that little bit of filter and that deliberation and the teams working together to communicate the message that the artist wants to communicate.
What are we missing out on? Like, what information would you like to see that you don't think you're gonna get now?
I mean, I just think that those pieces were really I think they illustrate the state the artist is in better than like the journalism we have done now. I think the questions are better. I think the way that it's written is better. I do. We get the same fucking questions in every podcast interview.
Every
single one.
If you're going to bullshit podcasts. But the good podcasts are asking real questions. We just saw the impact of Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams.
Yeah.
That was fucking dope. We're never getting that from a fucking journalistic piece. Ever. We're never getting that type of Cat Williams interview. The most deaf shit, like obviously I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen like longer form clips of it. That shit was really fucking dope.
Yeah.
And she bodied that. Like she really, really killed that. Even when fucking, that's why people like Nicki and shit are going to like, I know Elliot was tripping because she's like going on Kai Cenat shit and all this other shit. But the one sit down legit interview she did was with Joe Budden. And that was kind of fucking fire.
Yeah.
And Joe was asking really good questions.
Also, though, I don't think that an artist's like appearance and the way they talk should like be the only way that they can get their message across. You know what I mean? I think there is something to be said about collaborating with a photographer and creating a visual identity for a story and using those as the images that are captured. And then also having like a really good writer that can maybe help you if you're not the most articulate. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like get your point across a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Because I think both artists and journalists now, the scale is skewed to those that look really good and sound really good. And like journalists, like you said, there's less gatekeeping, which I agree, but also the attractive person that knows how to edit video is going to get so much further than the person that might have more to say and might be able to say it in a more effective way. You know what I'm saying? Like journalists used to just rise and gain their position because they had shit to say and they wrote really well. Mm-hmm. Now the journalists are probably people that we want to see on camera and people that look the part and people that probably were able to start because they either had tech skills or money to have people edit their videos for them.
Really? I mean, I'm disagreeing because like I'm thinking like, and I guess like I'm obviously like I'm very heavy in the sports like journalism world more, but like a lot of it is just random niggas who like have no backing, no nothing, and are sitting in the fucking like in their rooms and have built up these audiences for years. Like years and years. You like shout out obviously I don't know if you guys are super familiar, but like Kenny Beecham is a dude who like started off doing YouTube when I think we were like probably 12, 13, kid from Chicago, like didn't have a bunch of like anything, and like he was on with like Stephen A. Smith like multiple times, just got a deal doing a podcast with Omaha Sports and Peyton Manning. Like he's fucking, but he earned that because he has millions of followers across 4 or 5 different YouTube channels. You know what I mean? That he had to build up over years.
And what I'm saying is a big part of that is optics. You're on YouTube, you're seeing the person.
But it took like, but he's not, but I'm saying he's not this like super good looking guy. His videos aren't edited crazy. It's just grind. Yeah. He still had to put in years and years of work. He just got the Omaha deal this year, but has been on YouTube for almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. So like he put in the time and had to gain validity. You know what I mean? He built up his own company. You know what I mean? He has a newsletter that goes out breaking down. It's called Enjoy Basketball. Like breaks down like all the positive stats from the week in the NBA season and shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's forcing niggas to get more creative because there are still avenues for this type of journalism that we're looking for. You just have to seek them out. And if you don't want to do that, you can just follow a nigga on Instagram. And like if they're not the most articulate artist, you know what they're still gonna do? Probably post on their Instagram story. You know what I mean? And if that's all you want to see, like you can, that's what you can live with. You know what I mean? If we want deeper stories, then there are ways that we can get that. You know?
Like what?
Like watching the interviews. You know what I mean? The certain interviews that they do.
Yeah.
I'm with Spencer. I'm not gonna explain myself.
What do you can't just say that. You have to explain yourself, bro.
I'm with Spencer.
Shout out.
Nobody gives a fuck about journalism, bro. And if we gave a fuck, it wouldn't shut down. People would read that shit. People would be supporting these shits. Nobody gives a fuck.
I just don't believe that consumer consumption habits drive like values and what it should be. Like I don't think like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's okay to critique what we're consuming because I don't think it's benefiting us as a society.
But if you wanted different, then you would get different. Like, do you read?
I do. Yes, I read. Yes, I read articles and still read magazines. I get a subscription to every single fucking magazine at work. And Jose sees me sitting in my chair flipping through them, reading articles, and those are better than any fucking TikTok reel that I'm seeing these artists do when they sit down and talk this little bullshit on their podcast. I'm sorry.
But but that's the problem. You said the TikTok reel of a podcast.
Yeah.
So you're watching the short form chopped up version of a long form video content. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's valid.
That's my problem with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm consuming it the same way as you are, but I'm not watching the TikToks. I'm watching the full podcast.
Yeah.
And it's a much different light that this shit is painting than just the shit that people know is going to get. We know it.
Yeah.
We chop up our shit to get clicks, and it's probably not us articulating our points as eloquently as we do in this long form content.
But I'm still concerned about like the actual facts and objective like component of the whole thing, because when you can go on this podcast and say that Yeat's fan base is from 15 to 35 with no proof, then what are we really, where are the actual facts of this? You didn't break down the demographics of that. You just said it. If I didn't say anything about it, then that's just fact now.
And
it's not fact. I don't present it as fact. I said I feel.
Did you say I feel?
Yes, I think. This is all what I think.
So
I am not.
So you're saying that the consumer should take this information as Miles' opinion rather than, oh, this is true.
Yeah.
But I don't think the consumer does that. And I think you're crediting people too much to be like, oh, no, everyone's just going to do that.
I think journalists can do the same thing.
No, they can't. They definitely can't.
That's literally why Stephen A. Smith just had a whole beef with Jason Whitlock.
Okay, but I'm talking about
who's on ESPN.
I'm talking about print. That's what I've been talking about. That's what we're talking about with Pitchfork. They can't just make shit up. They can't make facts up. They can state their opinion, but like even when they're talking about an artist, when a print piece is going to come out, the journalist will always send the PR team a list of questions to fact check everything that might have been mentioned.
It's not wrong.
If an artist mentions a friend whose studio they were in when they were 14 and they were coming up, the journalist is reaching out and saying, can you provide the name of this friend so we can properly credit them factually? Like, I don't know.
And if you want to treat something as facts, ask the artist himself.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
we can all
it's
just
more valuable.
Ask the artist.
No, I'm saying now in the culture we're in now that's moved away from journalism, we're seeing more artists, more creators with podcasts themselves, talking about shit themselves, telling these stories themselves. So if you want legitimate facts and you want to see what these people have to say, listen to them.
And people be lying, bro. Like letting something come out of your mouth is different than putting it in writing. And like as somebody that has done this podcast for years, and also we did music journalism, we wrote about music for years. Like if I really want to show somebody like my best work and how I truly feel about music, I'm not sending them clips about like of me ranting on this podcast. I'm going to send them the piece I wrote on Aquemini and why it's the most influential album in hip hop history, because that is a piece that is probably a 10-minute read, but I probably spent 10 hours on crafting to make sure that I was delivering the exact message I wanted to, not just this stream of consciousness conversation we're having. You know what I'm saying? It started there. It started with brainstorm, stream of consciousness shit, but then I got to refine it, and I got to really look over every sentence and make sure that I was getting across exactly what I want to get across. And that's what we are losing by losing print journalism.
I think we just cut the fluff. We cut the bullshit. We cut the, it's not, bro. It's not. And what the most valid point is the fact shit, like the little, like maybe more specific numbers. But I think album sales, all that type shit still is in the news. Like you still find the numbers, you know what I mean? But what numbers are we really missing out on? I just don't know what facts like aren't going to be, like, you know what I mean, portrayed.
I think we've had print and like that type of journalism for so long, and I think the internet is still in its infancy stage. Like I don't know if it's gonna measure up to what print is right now in terms of like the fact checking and the gatekeeping and making sure everything makes sense. Like I think people are really just trying to figure it out now, and I think that's why I feel the same way you feel. I'm like, bro, this is just not a reliable source of journalism quite yet. You know, it's gonna take decades to figure
who are the journalists, bro? Some of these niggas, like, bro, that's what I'm saying.
There's no one to hold these internet journalists accountable. But they can say whatever they want and say whatever's gonna get them clicks, and if they lied, they can say, oops, I lied. You know what I'm saying? With these journalists, bro, like there are like yes, it's barriers to entry, and it might be harder for people to enter, but that's because they hold this whole company to a standard.
But they still have
bias. They have a CEO that enforces journalistic ethics,
and they have bias and relationships that they have to maintain, and certain stories and certain opinions maybe don't fit that narrative, and that shit's not going to come out. There's a lot of politics behind that shit. We're getting rid of politics.
There are politics.
There's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
A lot of politics. And I think now you're getting rid of that, and now people are saying real shit.
At the price of misinformation. Of like a lot of misinformation.
I'll take a little bit of misinformation if that means I get more truth as a whole. because I think that with the barriers, honestly,
Yo. Just for the audience, Miles knows how to debate and talk, but that was some bullshit, right?
How?
That was some crazy, bro. You said I'll take a little bit of misinformation, bro. Why do you want misinformation?
I don't want it at all. But if it means I get more of the true shit, like take the Diddy situation. A lot of relationships and a lot of people in the past might have been afraid to write pieces about him because they want to maintain that. But now niggas don't really give a fuck and can say whatever, and you see what's coming out. Now that does open the door for some random nigga to hop on a fucking mic
and say
and
that
say
Miles
some
was
bullshit.
at Diddy's house last night.
You know what I'm saying?
So Miles,
and if a
Which he
dumbass
was.
nigga chooses to believe that, hey, I'll take that.
would you rather know 10 true things or 18 true things and 2 false things?
18 true things and 2 false things. Because I think I'm intelligent enough to discern the 2 false things.
No, but that's the difference is you don't know they're false. Like you believe all 20 to be true.
I wouldn't. I don't believe any. Like,
Bro,
you can't believe everything.
So how do you dictate what is truth and what is fact?
Because then if I think it's suspect, then I'm gonna dig deeper. And if I only find one person with this opinion, and there's no other people that are having this opinion, no other things backing this up, you can cross-reference things. There is ways to kind of fact check stuff. You just have to dig a little bit if you have interest in speaking about it. You know what I mean?
But if we're assuming that all of the internet is a little bit more misinformation for more quantity, more truth, what are you cross-referencing? More misinformation?
There's still misinformation even in the old journalism. There's a fuck ton of misinformation. There's so much misinformation.
No. There's not a lot. There is a lot. There is politics and there is withheld truths, but there's not deliberate misinformation. Incredible.
There's so
journalism.
much, bro. Or think about I'm sorry.
Like things that are just wrong.
I'm so sorry to like keep like referencing sports, but it's like this. Watch, like Des Bryant came out and had all this beef with Tony Romo and like what was going on with Jason Garrett when he was on the Cowboys, right? If you're a journalist, though, I think that the quarterback of the team that's always on national TV at the podium doing the interviews, the head coach, these are more articulate people. These are people with bigger brands. So a journalist is probably going to want to approach them and get their side of the story. You know what I mean? But then Des Bryant comes out on the I Am Athlete podcast with all these former athletes like, no, this is all bullshit. I was on the field, and if you go watch the game tape from my perspective, go look at these niggas is capping, bro. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting that shit. So this misinformation, this bullshit still existed in the past. It's just, you know what I mean? You have to discern more. You have to be a more intelligent consumer of media now. And I don't think that that's bad. I think you have to push people to be better consumers. You know what I mean? You can't just baby them. You know what I mean? And I think that's what that kind of wasn't that. But I don't want to come off as a hater because there is value in that shit. Mm-hmm. I've fallen out of love with it, honestly, as someone who used to love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was there writing the article. I put in time like you did, bro. I respect it. I seen the grind these people do, but like, I don't know, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, we're just getting dumber as a species. It's okay.
We don't have to get dumber though.
We are.
You have to.
We're losing rhetoric.
You have to give people. You have conversational skills. I think we're gaining conversational skills. You have to learn how to talk. You can't just, bro. These journalists were keyboard warriors. Mm-hmm. They're no different than fucking the Twitter niggas because we don't know who random so and so.
Yes,
who
they
wrote,
are.
Bro, we don't know who random so and so who wrote this article in the Source magazine is.
But you can find out.
We really don't.
You can find out. You can click their link and learn read all the other articles they wrote. You can.
There's a blurb about them, and then there's just a bunch of fucking articles that they've written.
You can find out a lot of information about journalists that you can about random accounts on Twitter. That's a crazy take.
I'm not talking about the random accounts on Twitter. I'm more speaking about podcasters and like that type of thing. Because you can go see them. Like I can see, oh, you actually like have a video of you listening to the album. You have I can tell that you actually put in the time to digest this content and you're a fan of this genre of music. Like you are you might be a black person actually commenting on black issues. Like I could see your face. You know what I mean? I know who you are. They had the little profile picture. We're in semantics. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Things get heated at Stereovision.
Man, and Osei gonna say, I agree with Spencer, no comment.
No, I agree with Spencer.
No comment.
Again, no comment. Doubling down.
Peace, love, positivity is what we preach here. Can we end on a positive note? Can everyone give one song they really like this week? Just one song for the people. Something that makes you happy. Something that makes you smile.
Let me get one.
Never too much.
Listen to this one song. It's a little It's a little vibe. It's called Diabla by it's either Javi or Zavi. I don't know how you say it, but it's Xavi.
Okay.
This guy can really sing, bro.
Okay.
He's like the Mexican Justin Bieber. Like, this shit is crazy. That shit is crazy.
Shout out him.
Mexican Justin Bieber.
Insane.
I'm interested.
I'll do Never Too Much by Luther Vandross. That shit fire.
I'll go You and Me by Alt J off
Look at
their
this.
most recent album.
Look at us. Guys, I know we got heated off camera. We're all going to hug it out. Vibes. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. We'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace.